Well, at this time, this was in Edinburgh, this painting, and Lucian went. He had a friend in Scotland, and he ended up seeing it, and he was hugely, hugely affected by it, and he went all the time to see it, and he absolutely adored the physicalness of the Titian paintings and how they were always animals and animals on the ground. And there is a direct thing that behind, this is Susanna, behind her back is a striped pillow, which sort of holds her into the painting, which is directly taken from the slave behind Diana. Titian was never far from his mind. He was someone he thought of all the time, and he loved very much the animals in them, and he felt that the more you looked at them, the more animals you saw. Chardin was someone he another huge hero, and he would always say his nudes were the nudes Chardin would have done if he painted nudes, which he said he was too correct to paint nudes, but I'm doing the nudes he would have done if he painted nudes. When he did this, again, it was a new sort of thing for him to do. He'd acquired a key to go to the National Gallery at night. He would work there in the night. He was very excited by being there at the night, and very excited to have this time with this painting. He always said about this painting that the girl's ear was the best painted ear probably in the world, and most definitely in the whole of the National Gallery. And yes, he worked there for quite a long time. He did the painting.
On site, so that was fully done on site.
Yes, and the etching was done on site too.
How interesting.
Yeah, at night.
I think there is a bit, if I may share the observation, the Freud's sort of has a lot of night light to sort of the more obviously artificial light, and Chardin's one has a kind of more of diffused daylight, but and I guess Freud kind of plays with the scale a bit as well.
Yeah. Yes, he does, and especially the etching, which is really quite large. It's the volume of the baby's head is really quite large. Well, in the 80s, he said that these dwarf paintings were amongst the greatest in the whole world, and he worshipped them. And this painting of Guy and Spec, which I remember when it was first painted, it really is remarkable. Guy was someone new in his life. He was a bookmaker, and he was very, at this point, taken up with Guy. That seemed to come to an abrupt end at some point. But when he did the painting of Guy, he was thinking of these dwarfs, and the short neck, the angle of the head. He wanted to emphasize his smallness by the body small to the head, and he thought that the very beautiful Savaro suits on someone slightly. I think Lucian saw him as someone slightly roguish who'd done well. Maybe as a bookmaker he'd done very well, and suddenly, had a bit of a grand lifestyle. And the dog is painted with absolute love in the way that animals were by Lucian. And this is a great dog portrait.
Not dissimilar to Velázquez looking at dogs and painting dogs. Actually.
Absolutely. He Velázquez, Courbet, Titian had often animals in, and this was very powerful for him. This was the beginning of him going to the National at night. He adored in the bottom corner of this right-hand corner of the incredible, beautiful Turner. There were these fish on the ground, and he was doing a kind of, with chalk and charcoal. He made the cover for this book. He was also at the same time painting the picture of Celia painting Angus, which was humorous. He thought it was humorous, the nude man and the dressed woman. But I think strongly when he painted the paint tubes under Celia's feet, he was really, these fish in the foreground of the Turner were very, very much in his mind, and he is almost painting them as if they were the fish.
I think it's a fascinating insight, because in terms of the angle of the foot and the toe and the relationship to the tube, it does very much echo what the shape of the fish.
Yes, it does.
Turner. And I know there are various interpretations of what squeezing that paint by the foot means, but in many ways he was drawing on the form from Turner.
Yes, he was, and they were done really at a very similar. time. And I think Lucian had their kind of fantasy about being this kind of landscape painter and with foregrounds. So yes,
it's interesting. I think the idea that he brought the landscapes indoor.
Yes,
and the rugs became the landscape, and the tubes and the floor became the landscapes.
Absolutely, they did, and he saw it and the nudes too. He saw them as
and the nudes, of course, became the landscape. Yes.